we have a very thrilling and exciting class for you today. It is on the topic of getting your needs met. Okay, everybody want to get their needs met? Raise your hand. Yeah, very good. Okay, we're good. So we started last week. We're talking about a cat. You walk up to your aunt's house. You get her gray cat comes in on your lap, and you're petting the cat, and you're having such a good bonding situation. The cat, you leave. The next week you come. You want to pet the cat. The cat's busy or in the back or whatever, and your aunt hands you a stuffed animal, and you're like, and you don't get that yummy feeling of petting a cat. Why is that? What is the difference? I mean, it's the same fur, it's the same, grayness, it's the same sweetness, it's a cute little thing. Like if you look at that cute little stuffed animal. What is it about petting that live cat that impacts us so deeply? And that is when there is a giver and there is a receiver. When there's somebody receiving, there is a whole different level, a whole bumped up level of feeling satisfied and joyous at giving than there is if you're just petting a cat. Okay, that was our main topic last week, was Rav Moshe Cordovero gives over that that all bracha comes from Shemayim through the husband to the wife, and if we receive it, more blessing comes to our life. So our job here, standing on one foot, our job is to be the biggest receiver we possibly can be in our lifetime. And that's what we're going to be, growing to be, and going to be, God willing. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through the 5 tips. How do you do that, right? 5 secrets to getting closeness to your husband. Number 1 was thank your husband about 10 times more than you're currently doing. That, someone says, that's a lot of work. When you thank your husband, as we showed last week, we had sources for it last week, when you thank your husband, more blessing comes into your home. So it seems like it's labor on your part, but and maybe it is, but it's got a great payoff. Okay. Basically, when you're thanking him, like if he says, "Oh, beautiful dress," this thing, it's 5 years old. No, just say, "Thank you." Read my lips. Thank you. Okay, that's it. Number 2, listen more. Listening more starts with caring more. If you don't care, it's really like, and you're busy thinking about what you're going to say. We have to develop in ourselves caring more. And there's a payoff to this. Again, you're listening more. Maybe it's like, he's telling that same stupid story again, and he's telling it wrong with the wrong details. It wasn't Tuesday, and it wasn't in Paris, whatever, okay? This is caring about him, and understanding your role as a listener would be to just, oh, well, so then what happened? Working on ourselves to care more. So I once saw this T-shirt, and it said, "Help! I'm talking and I can't shut up." Right? Okay. So we got to work on the listening, not the talking. Okay. Number 3, anticipate feelings. This is something that we all do naturally. We certainly know it about ourselves. We anticipate. I had something I had to do this weekend. I was like, I have to do that. I was all anxious about it. I was cleaning my closet. Thank you. So I've really got to get that. There's stuff there I need and blah, blah, blah. I was more anxious about it before I was doing it. And after I did it was like, that was nothing. That was like 20, it was like an hour or whatever. So anticipating our feelings, we are adept at. Anticipating what our husband is feeling at the moment, that's what we want to be working on. Is everything working okay? Okay. We need to be working on anticipating feelings. So in terms of anticipation, one of the things that you want to anticipate is what is the impact going to be of what you are saying to your husband? You know that it bothers him that your son is having difficulty in math. He got another C today. Good. You know that's going to rile him up. Give him food first, say, listen, our son has been trying much, much harder with his homework. He happened to get a C today, but, he's working. You anticipate his feelings. That's number 3. Number 4, all of these tips and techniques are to bring your husband closer. Why? Both because it's a good thing to do. That's valid reason to just do it for that. But because it's going to make you happy. Just watch. Just watch. Try these things at home, okay? All right. Number 4, put Shalom first. Everyone's so quiet today. We got a nice turnout. Everyone's like, this. We're not. It's quiet on the set. We're not. There's not. The microphones aren't like. You don't worry. Don't worry. But okay. Put shalom first. So you're thinking, what is the right thing to do in this situation? Ask yourself, am I the type of person that needs to always be right? We know that about ourselves. Usually it's like, right now, you don't have to tell me. You don't have to raise your hands. Are you the kind of person? Okay, we get it, okay? You know, if you are the type of person who always has to be right, the bulletproof plan for getting on the other side of that is knowing that about yourself. If you're sitting there and you're having this big talk and, you're like, oh, wait a second. I'm really caught by the, like a dog chasing its tail. It's never going to catch its tail, okay? Got newsflash? It's never going to catch its, well, maybe are there dogs that can catch their tail, actually? I might, no, I don't know. Maybe there are ones, so I won't say never. But usually a dog will never catch its tail. So here you are in a situation, and you're like, if you know that you always are the type of person who has to be right, you can catch yourself mid-argument, thought process. Don't even go there. Don't even go there. Do I want shalom or do I want to be right? Other factor. Are you the kind of person that says, listen, I told you so. You should have listened to me in the first place. When you hear those words coming out of your mouth, say, I got to work on that. I got to be better than that. Because really, there needs to be like a zero tolerance policy for that. It's never a good idea. It only causes distance in a relationship. So even if you're feeling it, and let's say you always say to your husband, don't, I wouldn't park there. I wouldn't park there. No, I wouldn't park there. I really wouldn't park. Can we park somewhere else? I wouldn't park there. And he gets a ticket, right? It is like, it's like almost impossible to not say, I told you so, right? Especially if it comes in, it's $85 ticket or some horrible thing, right? So the question for you is, would you rather have peace in your relationship, or would you rather, I told you so, and have that sense of, I'm right, and they are wrong? Something to work on. Okay. Number 5, show approval. So showing approval to our husbands is like the long forgotten art on the planet Earth. I don't know at what point it took off and wasn't part of the world anymore, but people withhold approval from the person that they have dedicated and committed themselves to making this person happy, and then they clutch on to their level amounts of and content, both in terms of quantity of how much they show their husband approval and in quality of really depth, saying, I really feel lucky that I married you. Or I'm so happy that you, were able to come to the wedding tonight. I get to drive with you, I get to drive home with you. I feel like the luckiest person in the world. Whatever it is, showing them in words, deeds, and everything, showing them how much they mean to you and showing them approval. And it's a forgotten art. And just remember, we're very tight-fisted on this. And this is an area to work on. Remember the words, Rebbetzin Batsheva Kanievsky pointed out that the words a wife uses to praise her husband, I'm going to say it, start again. The words a wife uses to praise her husband are the most precious words she will say in her life. That's a direct quote from Rav Chaim's wife, Oliver Shalom. Okay. The words a wife uses to praise her husband are the most precious words she will say in her life. Hi, thank you. Okay, so that's, okay. What did we just do? We just talked about, that was the recap from last week, the 5 secrets of connecting deeply from last week. If you want a lot of extra stories and explaining it in much more depth, go back and watch last week's class. Definitely worth the binge watch. Okay, now, we had Leah's secrets of the day from last week. The 5 secrets of connecting deeply are: thank your husband, listen more, anticipate feelings, put shalom first, show approval. Homework for the week, and after I tell you the homework, I'm going to ask somebody to share. Try one of the methods this coming week and come back and report. Nobody look at Sarit. She's not even here. So let's see if anybody else can report back on the homework. Was anyone able to do at least one of them? Anticipate their husband's feelings, or listen when you didn't feel like listening, or thanking your husband. Was anyone able to do this homework? Somebody has to volunteer. I call on somebody.
Leah, I did it.
Surprise, surprise. Okay, Sarit, go ahead.
So I'm sorry, is it someone else talking or me talking?
Only you. Only you.
Okay, cool. Okay. So I just didn't want to talk on someone else. But so basically I tried this homework because it's something that I very much wanted to put into play.
Can you guys hear her? Okay. Yeah, okay, good.
And I tried one of sort of doing what my husband wanted and anticipating what his needs are. And I did it. I just maybe did it Sarit style, which, is not such a good style.
No.
So basically, it's true. I'm working on it, but it was a little bit with a sort of like a grunt and a huff. Basically, he was at home and we were getting ready for our flight, and so he knew he was around to help. And I had really made him not do very much. Like I left him alone in the morning. I let him do his own thing. And as much as possible, I tried to anticipate that the flight is hard for him and the whole situation is stressful. So as little as possible, I asked him to do nothing. Basically, I asked him to do nothing. I just kept doing everything on my own. And then
you mean getting the kids? You're saying getting the kids ready for
getting the suitcases ready, getting the kids
ready. Okay, got it.
Food packed, everything. Okay, so I was doing everything, and at one point I went down to my laptop to print out the tickets and do some other stuff, and my son was having an issue upstairs, and my husband comes down and he goes, and my daughter was with my son, and I called up to her saying, you just have to deal with it because I'm busy right now. And my husband came downstairs and he looks at me and goes, you need to go upstairs.
Wait, I don't get it. Did you catch it? Wait, I missed what you said. Who said I can't deal with this now? I'm busy.
So what happened was my
you can move
daughter
over
was
so you can see
my
if you
son
want.
upstairs, but he was obviously having a hard time. And I was downstairs, so I called up to my daughter and I said, I can't deal with this right now. You need to take care of it. You deal with him. Figure it out. Whatever you need to do with him, figure it out. And I can't deal with it right now. My husband was coming down the stairs, and he comes down and he goes, you can't put this on her. You need to go up and deal with it.
Got it.
My instinctive reaction and my norm would be, are you kidding me? You did nothing. I did everything today. I've given you basically the ability, because I know that you're stressed and I know that it's hard for you. I gave you the ability to relax. You are also the father. You can't go up and just take care of him. I'm obviously not sitting around, watching, watching a movie. I'm not sitting around playing. I'm obviously doing something important, but I kept my mouth shut, and I was about to say it. I, looked at him with that look, and I'm about to start, and then I get up, and I start walking, but instead of keeping fully quiet, which is what I should have done, and then I would have gotten a gold star, as I was passing him by the stairs, I said, I'm not going to say a thing. I'm holding back. I'm holding back.
Oh, you said that to him?
Yes, because I had so much to say. So much to say. And there was so many things I wanted to tell him. I can't believe you. What's wrong with you? You're also the father. There were so many things I was holding back on that as I went up, instead of just being quiet and zipping my lip, I wish I had Scotch tape that I could have put on it. But instead of just zipping my lip, as I went up, I said, I'm not saying anything. I'm holding back. And he literally looked at me and he goes, okay, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And he
that's
laughed.
Good.
But he
okay,
knew,
so hold on, time out.
Sarit,
because there's the kind of weird reverb here, so I'm going to quickly recap because some of the people on the show or whatever, we all see, everyone's laughing here, so I can tell you got it. I just want to make sure Instagram people and everybody else on Facebook can follow everything that happened because it was really funny. So not really funny, whatever. So first of all, we have to know, we don't talk about our husbands and whatever. Sarit, we have a rabbinic thing that, and from her husband and everything, that she can say things that might not make her look perfect or her husband look perfect. Actually, it's okay if you make yourself not look perfect because none of us is perfect. Well, some of us. No joking. Nobody's perfect, right? Okay, but we don't want to make our husbands look bad. So even if you're complaining about your husband, you need to he leaves stuff around, or he does something that bothers me and I'm working on it. We wouldn't say something bad about her husband. Sarit, on the other hand, can be more revealing. So I just want to clear that up so people don't worry that we're not doing things as we have a rabbi's stamp of approval to do the way we're doing it. Anyway, okay. But what Sarit said is she was doing everything. She's got all the suitcases ready. She got everything all ready. And then her husband, her daughter asked her to do something, and she said, "Yeah, you handle it. I'm busy," because she was printing the boarding passes or whatever. So her husband said, "I really think you ought to take care of it." And she was like, steam coming out of her ears, and doing the homework from last week, which is anticipating how she's feeling. She zipped her lip. But as she's walking by her husband, she said, what did you say, Sarit?
I said to him, I'm holding back.
I'm holding
really
back.
holding back right now.
I'm holding back. I'm not saying anything. I'm not doing anything. And he turned around and said he's great. That's great. Good for you. Good for you. So fantastic. First of all, isn't that inspiring? I find that really inspiring. Yeah, everyone's nodding their head. You guys talk because the people on the camera can't hear you, and then they think that I'm talking to. Well, maybe I am talking to. Turn the camera on. No, never mind. Don't worry. Don't get nervous. But I'm saying, talk verbally so people on the show can hear whatever. But anyway, they said yes. Okay, so so the issue is that ability to have self-mastery that Sarit did. Now, she's been with us 3 years, and she's also an extraordinary person to begin with. But, to have the self-mastery, to not let it fly, to not, in the moment. And I want you to know something from a, physical thing, a beautiful, oh, that's lovely. I'm sure her husband's going to feel closer to her. That's great. But I want you to know something even deeper. On a deep spiritual level, all of the malachim, all of the angels up in Shemayim were doing a standing ovation to Sarit because she held her tongue. And it wasn't just for that one moment that she held her tongue and that's a beautiful moment in time that she held her tongue. But the merit for having done that gives her merit for eternity. This is not Leah Richeimer. Oh, woo, woo, that's such a cute idea. Wow, what a great strategy to motivate myself to do things that are hard. I mean, that might be true also. This is we have many, many sources, 220 sources here. Look them up. We have sources that say every act we do of shalom is put in a little box and held for us for eternity. So what Sarit did, it was not just that one moment of this beautiful, sweet thing that she did. It's also in her merit for eternity. And not only that, not only will she collect in eternity, but not only that, her husband is drawn to her. You see, right away, her husband, he's like, what did he say? You go, girl. What did he say?
He was like, he's like, good for you, good job. Like, he was proud of me, but at the same token, I felt a little bit
condescended.
That, why couldn't I just not say anything, smile at him as I went by and said, sure, honey. I was a little bit upset at myself.
You mean that would have been the next level up, to say, sure, honey, rather than saying, I'm biting my tongue.
Exactly.
Hold on.
Exactly.
Somebody in the audience wants to ask a question
I
say
just
something.
wanted to say,
Talk loud so they can hear. Yeah.
First of all, that she's able to still appreciate that she did it. She's not just focusing on the negative, because that's what I always focus on, and then you take away from the growth that you did have. And then also that she's still aware of the parts that she'd like to work on. So it's going to help her grow more because she's focusing on the positive, but also going to work on finding what to work on in the future.
That's fantastic. She's proud of her. She could have been down here. She's up here. So she's acknowledging that she got to this level, and she sees where she could have been and sees the gap and where she's growing. Brilliant. Fantastic. I like that.
Yeah.
Ooh, 10 thumbs up.
I appreciate so much that the woman in the audience just said that, because I almost didn't feel that. I was so hard on myself, thinking I've been doing this work for 2.5 years. I should be better. I should be better by now. I should just be able to hold my tongue and not have to say anything. So it's good to hear that sort of compliment that I'm in a good place. I just, you just feel like you want it to happen quicker, and by now I want to get it so right that I don't even have to struggle with it.
Yeah, so that's a great point. So I'm just going to tell a little bit about personal growth that we learned from Marcellus Sharm. So what we learn is that you focus on little individual things. I had a woman, she called me, she said, Leah, I don't even know where to start. It's like, this is broken and that's broken. He doesn't talk to me nicely. I'm angry all the time. He's not good with the kids. There's like a million things. I don't even know where to start. There's so many issues in my marriage. We start with one. It's remarkable how just taking on one thing, and if you can't, start with an easy one. Start with an easy one that you think you'll have success in, that you can work on, and you start with that one. I say, if you think of it like, this whole, all of the problems that you have, let's just think of it like a bowl of spaghetti, like you boil a pot, whatever, and all the spaghetti's there, and it's all mush kabobbled, right? And then you pour it down into the drainy thingy, and so what is it called? What is it? Yeah, the colander or strainer. Yeah, okay, thank you. I lose my brain sometimes. Well, maybe all the time. Don't tell anybody. Okay, so anyway, you got the colander there, right? And all the spaghetti's there, and it's all mushed together, and it's all like this. And it just feels overwhelming. But if you take one strand out and work on that one strand, it's like, I can handle that. And it's funny, as you take out one strand at a time, suddenly all the spaghettis are lined up nicely on the counter and, getting everything all dirty and messed up. But you know what I'm saying? It's just it working on one thing. So for you, when you say, oh, I should be better, we are taking a full frontal attack on our Yetzer Hara, on our evil inclination to become the most extraordinary people we can, to maximize our potential as women, as wives, as for a lot of us mothers. We're working on all of it at once. But here's the beauty. When you follow the Masorah, when we look at our traditions and see what is the key thing I should be working on now, and that's what we're doing on a very drip by drip by drip, we're working on this. We're working on anger, we're working on communication, we're working on listening, we're working on caring, we're working on how about taking care of ourselves, okay? We're going to get a whole section on that, okay? All of these things, we're going to just take one piece at a time, and this is going to grow us. But in terms of people who are feeling overwhelmed, Sarit, by like how much there is to work on, and this is part of being alive, just one thing at a time. And this week, or last week, we were working on closeness. This week, we're working on getting our needs met. And I don't want to delay anymore because this is so crucial. Once a woman's needs are met, a lot of the things that trouble us in our lives, a lot of the things we feel are broken that need fixing, work themselves out. So we're going to get right to our topic. So are there any more comments on this? Fantastic, awesome. Any more comments on this before we go into our topic of the day? Good, we're good. Okay, fantastic. Okay, this is called getting our needs met. This is our topic for today. Women complain all the time to me, Leah, my husband doesn't meet my needs. Worse than that, he doesn't even seem to care that he's not meeting my needs. It's like I'm just bursting with this and this, and he's not meeting any of my needs. He doesn't care that he's not meeting them. Sometimes he does these half-hearted efforts, but I totally get the feeling. He's really, feels like his whole job is to do the least amount possible that he can get away with. Okay? And usually at this point, I was like, So, that's true. My husband doesn't meet my needs. Now, then I asked the $1 million question. Do you even know what your needs are? Do you know what your needs are? And if you do know what your needs are, have you communicated them in a way that motivates him to meet your needs? And they're like, I have to. I've got some spaghetti cooking on the stove. I have to go now. Bye, Leah. If I were to right now take big fat notebooks, haul them in. Okay, everybody, hand out notebooks to everybody. Fill them out. Everybody, fill out what you want from your husband. You'd be like, oh, okay, what is it? Okay, yeah. Well, they would be, everybody here would be sitting right around. I want a new shaitel. I want him to stop putting me down in front of my mother-in-law. I want him to stop texting while he's talking to me. Read my lips. Whatever. You could fill an entire notebook this fat. Those 5-ring notebooks that are huge, this fat. You could fill a whole notebook of what you want your husband to do. And then you'd say, Leah, can I ask you a favor? Can I have another notebook, please? Right? Now, I turned the tables on you, and I said, okay, forget what you want. I'm just going to hand you a little notebook, a little index card here. Write down 3 of your most deepest, important needs that you have. And they'd be like, I'll get back to you on that one, Leah. The ramifications of this are huge. If we don't know what we need from our husbands, and we're just pummeling him with our wants, I want this, and I want that, and why didn't you do this? And society has groomed us very well to meet our wants, to go after our wants. I want this, I want that, and we were all very good consumers. I don't know how many people are addicted to Amazon Prime. I don't know people like this personally, but we're addicted to getting our wants met. And I bought the new stroller, and it doesn't have the sippy cup holder. And I bought the, and I had this, and we're good. We're really good at knowing what our wants are and getting them like this. And we look to our husband, and the poor guy cannot win. He is run completely ragged. I want you to do that. Oh, you come home earlier, call. Why didn't you call? You didn't text this. You didn't do the diaper. Do that. I want from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. We're as if he's a vending machine. Hi. I don't want the Pepsi. I want the Coke. We treat our husbands like now, I don't particularly blame us, because that's society we're living in, and I'm part of that, so I know what it is to want things from your husband. But here's the news, the very well-kept secret. Yeah, she can come on in. Hi. The very well-kept secret, there's a seat over here, just go back through there. Okay. There's a very well-kept secret, which is, actually, don't tell major corporations this, because they will deny it and have big problems with this. Getting what you want, even getting most of what you want or all of what you want, getting what you want, getting what we want, will never, ever make us happy. Newsflash. Like, wow, we need a Twitter account with 5 billion people on it saying, getting what you want will never make you happy. The only thing that has a chance of getting you happy is having a few of your deep internal needs met. They might be emotional needs, they might be spiritual needs, they might even be physical needs. But if you can narrow and understand what your needs are, then you have a shot. Right now, our poor husbands were, I want this, I want that, whatever he's running. He knows. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where I said, I replaced all these gorgeous women here, and I replaced you all with the husbands, and I say, do you make your wife happy? Is your wife happy and satisfied with your relationship? Is she happy? They'd be like, they'd all kind of, no, of course they're not. They never have, the husband never has that sense and that feeling of making you feel completely satisfied and contented with them. They know, even when you're saying, hey, this is a really nice, dinner for 2. I really appreciate it. They know it's just a matter of time before they're back in a place where you're not happy with them. Here's the spiritual ramifications of that. Everyone's so serious. It's a serious topic. Okay. Here's the spiritual ramifications of that. If we learn over that all bracha, all blessing comes from God to our husband and then to us, and he is busy trying to give to us, get all our wants filled, and he's never really hitting the mark because he's not meeting our needs because we don't know what they are and we haven't told him, okay? So he keeps giving, and it never goes clunk. So the very reason he was put on the planet, which is to make you happy, there are many sources for this, and I said, is that the only reason he was put on the planet? And the answer was no. Is it the main reason? Probably. I got different answers, so we can just say it is the correct verbiage. It is one of the main reasons your husband was put on this planet, and that is to make you happy, and he's not accomplishing it. It's a tough life to live. And
Leah,
it's
when
not
you
for
pause-
trying, huh?
Leah, when you pause, I have a Facebook question. Someone on Facebook is asking a question that they'd like you to answer regarding this topic.
Fine. Okay, I have a question on here, too. You're not here to tell me what I should do. Who came in first? Let's start with the
It's okay,
Facebook
whichever
person
you
for a
want.
second, and we'll get to yours in 1 second. Okay, good. Go. What's the question?
Okay, Facebook question is, I know it's very difficult to take time from work for him, so how do I get to go on a short vacation as a family, which I feel we really need as a family? It's a struggle for me. So it's obviously for her, she feels a need for them to go on a vacation. How does she get that when she knows that it's hard for him to take off?
Fantastic. I will be answering that. That's coming up in next section. And stay tuned, Facebook person. First of all, thank you very much for writing in. We love the participation. I will be answering that in just a few minutes, okay? So, and you can add questions to it if I don't answer it fully then, but I think I got it handled. We're talking about now the problem, and I'm going to get to the solution in a minute. Okay, go ahead. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Sarit. Okay, go ahead.
What if there is an issue and it's still not being met, and you've voiced it kindly, but you're frustrated, so it doesn't always come out perfectly, but you voiced it, it is an issue, and it's important.
Beautiful question. Did everybody understand the question? You could hear it on the thing? Everybody heard in the audience? Okay, so
Yes.
you voiced it, good. You voiced it, and it's still not forthcoming. Okay, that's still part of the solution. So it's actually quite remarkable, like unbelievably remarkable. Here's the dynamic, and you're segueing me into what I'm just about to go into, which is insatiable. When you okay, here's the sentence. Ready? Powerful sentence. Thanks to, can I say her name or whatever? Okay, there's somebody who wrote this into me. Is this what I'm saying? And I said, that's exactly what I'm saying, and you said it better than me. Okay, is unmet needs create insatiable wants. Meaning, if your deep needs that you need more than anything in the world are not met, you will spend all of your time trying to fill that void by throwing every want in the million years that you can think of and pop of, and ones you had when you were a 7-year-old little girl playing with your dolls. You know, every need, every want that you have is sitting in your head right now, okay? It's very easy to pop them out. If your needs are not met, that's what happened. If your husband is run ragged trying to meet all your wants, which is what they spend most of their time trying to do, and they change every day. You know, like well, yesterday you told me I should listen to you more. Now you're saying I should get in the car already. Which one is it? Right? Where changes, our wants change every 10 minutes, every day, every whatever. So if the husband, this is the beauty of this, if the husband isn't run ragged trying to meet all your wants, he has ample opportunity to meet your needs, and something that you spoke with him and maybe you said it nicely, maybe you didn't, maybe we'll work on that a little. But if you aren't asking all these other wants of him, and he's got all his attention is just to meet that one need. I mean, if you cleared your husband's deck of any other request you had of him and only had this request, I mean, you'd certainly have it's not guaranteed, but you'd certainly have a whole lot better shot at it than if he's got all these wants that he has to do in the meanwhile. Okay, that answer it so far? Okay, we're going to get to how to do this. first question, remember, was how can we expect our husband to meet our needs if we don't even know what they are? Okay. It comes from the confusion of needs versus wants. So let's look at our sources. Reb Yisrael Meir, in Search of a Jewish Woman, he gives over that a husband desires desperately for his wife to be happy. Rev Eliyahu Dessler states, love is a result of giving. More than giving is a result of love. So our husband wants to give to us. He's desperately, that's what, as I said, one of his main jobs in life is to give to us, and our job is to receive that. Okay, what's the question?
What was the quote? The result of giving comes...
Love is a result of giving. More than giving is a result of love. So now we're going to get to the solution part. Okay, so Facebook Live, lady, thank you for sharing. I'm getting to the solution part. The first step to getting our needs met is understanding our needs, knowing what our needs are, and separating them out from wants. And it's a big mishkabobble. It's like that spaghetti in our head. It's like, ugh, it's all there. Okay. So, for instance, having that clarity, we need that clarity so our husband isn't constantly disappointing us. Because if there's one thing I can tell you in meeting thousands of women, it's like, yeah, they're disappointed. They're disappointed in what life has handed them with their relationship with their husband. It's the saddest thing. God has prepared him since the beginning of time, since the first apple fell from the tree. You were destined to be with your husband. And here he is. Maybe some of you are older singles and you were praying, please, just everybody else has got married. Do you know how many weddings I've been to? And then you get your own wedding, and then he's right there in front of you, and you're like, it's so sad, this disappointment we all walk around with. And the answer to it is getting a few of our needs met. That flips it on its... I'm telling you, next week you're all going to walk in here with huge smiles on your face because understanding this just shifts the relationship. Okay, for example, let's talk about this. Let's get down to the brass tacks. You're really upset because your husband doesn't bring you flowers every Friday. Your neighbor gets them, your friends get them, whatever. Maybe it is a need for you, but for most people, that's a want. I want him to bring me flowers. He should bring me flowers. I expect, he married me. I want my flowers. But maybe that's a want. And a deeper need is when you are totally frazzled and stressed out, and some of us get that more than others, okay? When you're totally stressed out, you want him to either listen to you, why are you so stressed out? Or you want him to pitch in something. The flowers is a want. If you had the need of him being there for you, really being there for you when you were stressed, you could give a hoot about the flowers. It wouldn't even be a blip on your radar. So understanding our needs does a huge relationship shift. It's like now, instead of being disappointed with our husband, we figure out the needs, and then we tell him what they are, and then he can provide for us. Fine. If we know that getting those needs met is going to really satiate us and make us feel content in our life, a lot of the things that we want, it's not that we have to jettison them, they just fade. Like you just don't even care anymore. It's not, you don't have to work to not want something. It's like your need, you're so satiated with your needs, you're like, you know what? Instead of, like when Sarit was walking by, her husband, and she was saying, I really needed him to, go help with the kids upstairs. I'm doing the luggage. I'm doing everything so beautifully. Why isn't he there for me? You are able to jettison it because you're like, that's a want. That would have been nice. That would have been helpful. That isn't a deep need. Okay, so for starters, we need to gain clarity on what's most important to us, let the rest go. A woman can be extraordinarily happy by just having a few of her needs met, by doing the necessary work to truly understand what our needs are. Okay. Conclusion of that is getting what you want will never make you happy, but getting just a few of your needs met will bring you more joy than you thought possible. but we have to know what our needs are. Okay.
So how do you determine wants versus needs?
Exactly what I'm getting into right now. She wasn't a plant. That was a spontaneous thing that happened here. Okay? Okay. How do we figure out what our needs are? So there is an exercise I'm going to teach you today. It's not fun. It's not horrible. On a scale from 1 being super easy, 10 being horrible, it's probably a 3. Maybe for some of you it's a 4, but it's not the worst thing you ever did in your life, but it is work. Not so horribly hard. So the first thing you do, and I'm telling you, I have women who do this in their head. Oh, yeah, I kind of figured it out in my head. Okay, there's something to that. You will gain something from doing that. But the women who powerhouse flip their relationship around, flip their marriage around, flip their satisfaction and joy in life around, actually get a piece of paper and a pen, a little notebook that you keep to yourself, and start a journal. This takes, I would say, you can get it done in 2 hours, or you can take 2 weeks to do it. It's up to you. You have different type of people, obsessive compulsive types, or bookworms, or people who hate. You can get an app that's, you jot notes and you talk it into your phone, whatever you want to do. But here's the project. We start this project. There's 4 steps. Number 1, you write down everything you want from your husband, everything you ever wanted from your husband, everything you want from a man that would look like your husband when you were a little girl that you wanted your husband to do for you at some point. Okay? Write every want down. It is nauseating to do this. Okay? This is where I said it's hard. When you're writing them down, you're like, oh, and I want him to, like when he sees that I'm a little upset with the kids, I want him to take the kid in the other room and talk to the kid. Or I want him to just come and do the diaper. Or I want him to come, and when my mother-in-law says, there's something not quite right with the soup, I want him to say, it's fantastic. She's making it, Mom, exactly how I like it, Mom. Okay? Why isn't he like that? So you're writing down every little fantasy you ever dreamed of, thought of. Okay, some of us, look, I have a whole thing, we discussed this about romance novels and movies and all this stuff and how it infiltrates our mind and who we think they should be and how it affects our expectations and how it actually, if you don't get it, these things can actually cause you to have a horrible marriage, in terms, so you really have to be on your guard, okay? I'm not saying don't want whatever, do what you do. Just be aware that when you see a movie where they're walking off and he does all these things and wow, then you come back and you look at him, right? Your husband, who's like, doesn't do all those things. Yeah, he does a million other things, like he's dependable, or like he loves you unconditionally, or like he lets you be messy, or your car is a disaster and he gets in, he doesn't say a word. Whatever it is, he's got all these great qualities. All you notice is that he doesn't look like that guy, and he didn't bring you 7 dozen roses all around, and every room you walked in there was another dozen roses, whatever they do on there. By the way, the guy in the movie, just FYI, the guy in the movie did not pay for those roses, okay? That was on a budget from some movie studio, okay? So just let's get this clear. So when your husband isn't doing what you want, right, get clear. You have a lot of pictures up there, a lot of junk. So I had a woman, she says to me, Leah, come on. When I started writing it down, I started it's like putting down everything I want from it. It's making my relationship with him worse because I'm like, yeah, he's not doing any of this. And I'm like, hey, lady, that stuff, what predates your husband by probably 25 years, 20, whatever, since you were a little girl and you thought what a husband should be and could be and your expectations, all there. I'm losing my, I must feel strongly about this. Okay, so the getting them all down, you're writing and you're writing and you're writing more and more wants and wants and wants, and the paper is getting, you have another page. You might get 20 pages of wants, okay? Some of you 30, 40 pages of wants. That's fine. Somehow, even if you stopped at exercise number 1, after like page number 97, you're going to start giggling at yourself like, OMG, this poor guy. Nobody on the planet Earth could do this. No one could fulfill all of these wants. I'm a want machine. Leah, Leah, I'm broken. What's wrong with me? What do I want from this guy? Am I real? Really? You're going to get this fat list, and it's just that revelation of understanding how we're a want machine. And we think our husband's a vending machine, and I made you soup, so now deliver, or whatever it is, Our husbands aren't a vending machine. Let this be a, newsflash to you, okay? Now, you write down all of that. That's step number 1. Step number 2, a little bit fun and a little bit hard, crossing out all of your wants. We are in this whole list in this big fat notebook, right? There are actual needs in there, believe it or not. There's actually valuable information that we can cull and hone down and figure out, and our needs are in there. Usually. Sometimes you have people who really deep, and they're not in touch with their needs, and they realize what they need is emotional stability. And their husband gives them that in spades. Why are they making him run ragged and do this and do that and do that? When really he's stable and they're all over the place. I don't know from this. I've heard people can be like that. So whatever, but he's like a rock and they're a butterfly all over the place, right? And all they need from him is to be a rock. And he already is. And getting that is really powerful. So, but when we're doing this exercise, you're going through, now you're crossing out your wants, right? So you're going to cross out, I want more shoes. I bet you every woman here, some more particular than others, will have more shoes, okay? So you know who you are about the shoes, okay? So you can probably cross that out. Maybe it's a need. Maybe for some of you, that's one of your top 3 needs. I get it. That's fine. You're entitled. But if you put I need shoes, she's going hysterical here. If you put I need shoes on your list, that means I need compassion won't fit on the list of 3, maybe 4 things. A woman only really needs 3 things, 3 needs met to be happy. But if you're one of those people who just can't decide, okay, you can have a 4th. But if you put shoes on that list, you're foregoing a lot of other stuff that might be way more important to you. So fine, you're crossing out wants. Number 3, now, what's going to happen is, let's say you have an average number would be 100 wants. Again, this is such a powerful exercise. It's fun. It's actually, there's parts of it that are fun. It's hard, but it's fun. Okay, I guess depending on the person. Now, as you're going through and you're crossing out, you're going to see that, there were 10 things there and 9 of them are crossed out. The one that you can't quite cross out yet, that has the potential of being a need. You're going to circle it. You're going to circle. So if you have, let's say you're starting on page 1, and page 1 has 10 items on it, okay? And some of you will type it in, and then don't let your husband see this. By the way, BT Dubs, note to self: do not show this to your husband. He will, the nearest window, he's out the window, okay? This is for you to process and to become a better you. This is not to make your husband feel bad that all the stuff he isn't doing. He already knows, right? It's not a newsflash. He already knows everything he's not doing. Okay, fine. So anyway, to repeat the thing was, you are going through, let's say on one page you have 10 items, and 9 of them you've been big enough, okay, yeah, I really don't need him to, call me twice a day, 3 times a day. I'm doing that because of my insecurity. He's a rock. That was my need. I don't need him to do that. Whatever it is, you'll know. So you're crossing out 9 of them. You'll have 1 left that you just, is it a need? Is it a want? I'm not sure. What's an example of that? I need him when he walks through the door to greet me warmly, rather than running to his computer to check his email or whatever he would be doing otherwise. Now they can check it on their phone, whatever. But whatever it is that he would do or he wouldn't greet. So that's really a need. Is it more important than him being compassionate? Probably not. But for now, if you're not sure if it's a need or a want, you're putting a circle around it. That's what you're doing. Did we have a question? Okay, so you're putting a circle around the needs. Now, let's say you've got 10 pages of 10, and you have 9 things that have circles around them. Now you're prioritizing. That's the next step. Step number 3 is to prioritize them. And this is going to help you. This is hard work, but I want you to know something. When I worked for 20 years with single people, and I used to say, they would walk in with a whole, they say, oh, I did my list, and their list had no semblance of reality. It was all what their mother told them, or their society told them, or what they thought they should want, or what they should want, or what they want, until a single person understands. So if you have single friends, tell them, get clarity on what your needs are. Get clarity, because you can't have everything. I know you think you can have everything. I know in the romance novels they get everything. You're not going to get everything. Hello, wake up. In the romance novel, guess what? They walk off into the sunset. They don't wake up the next day and their husband has his dirty socks on the pillow, okay? That's not in any book I ever read, okay? So let's talk reality check. That's not going to happen. So if you have single people, tell them, know what you need. When you know what you need, then you can go find it. If you don't know what you need, you're never going to get it. And it's the same thing with married women until you know what you need. So here, you've got 10 pages, 10 things. You've got 9 things left, let's say. And now it's prioritizing. So the way to do that is you weigh one thing against the other thing. Let's say on page 4, you had, I want somebody who really, I want him to really listen to me when I'm talking to him. Enough of this texting, enough of that. That's going to be that's really core. I know if I had that, I wouldn't really care that he's not taking out the trash, and I wouldn't really care that he didn't do everything perfect. I told him when we, leave the house to, I want the back doors checked and the locks and whatever. I'm always the one who has to do it. If your needs are met, you're like, I'm just going to check the door. It's an extra 2 minutes. Instead of being mad and then you're in the car and you're mad at him because he didn't do what you told him, that's a want. I get it. That's a want. I'm gonna drop that one out. So now you're weighing 2 things that you think that you want. One is you want him to really listen to you, and one is what's another? Give me a want. I mean a need. Can someone think of one? Quality time. I want more quality. That's a deep need of mine. I need quality time. Okay, So now you've got, I need quality time and I want him to listen to me when I need him, which is not quality time, which is not this break. Ooh, that's tough. That's a tough time. Both of those might end up on my top needs. But let's say you have a lot like that. You have 9 like that, and they're really hard to decide. So you take, instead of saying which one of these 9 is more important to me, you take only 2. It's much easier to weigh 2 things than it is to weigh 9 and see which is more, which is less, okay? So you want to take these 2 things. Quality time versus listening. Listening to me what's the one I said? I just said it 2 seconds ago. Hello. What did I say? Listening. Okay, listening to me when he comes home from work, let's say. Both of those are super important to me. Which one's more? This is a judgment call. There's no right answer here. But if I had listening more, would I be okay with less quality time? If I had quality time, would I be okay with less listening time? It's like, no, when he comes home, I end up having a lousy night if I feel like when he comes home, I haven't connected with him and he hasn't cared about, the aggravating day I had or whatever. This is more important to me. So that's how you would prioritize. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Can't there be overlap, though? I mean, in a way, quality time, to me, equals being listened to.
That's true. That's a good point. So then you would say, oh, I'm going to put the listening time into this. That I'm going to, what is that called? Accordion. Merge them, And when I say quality time, it means really being listened to. But it could be for somebody else. Listening to means when he walks in the door from work, I'm number 1. That's important to me, Okay, and your husband, granted, your husband may not be the kind of person who's able to do that. That's another thing we'll get to in a second. But that was a great question. Okay, so those are write down all your wants and needs, cross out your wants, prioritize your needs, okay? And now is number 4, which is communicate those needs in a way that your husband can hear them. So here's my recommendation. Everybody knows their own relationship and how good, some people, oh yeah, my husband and I have great communication. I can really, whatever. And some people say, every time we start communicating about something, one of us blows up. One of us has anger issues. If that's the case, you have to really be very cautious in how you handle this. Everybody should really be cautious about how you handle it because you want to get those needs met. This is the biggest goal of your life at this moment, okay, is to get your needs met so you can have a satisfying life as well and you can be as close to your husband as humanly possible. So how you communicate it, my recommendation, and this is for the lady here who asked about the wants and how to communicate it, the recommendation is once you know your needs yourself and got them down pat and really write them on a Post-it note or an index card or on your thing, once you write them down and you know them, don't communicate them to your husband until you yourself have dropped 3, 5, 10 wants off of your demands of him. Because when he feels less like a chicken with his head cut off, never making you satisfied and happy, right? She has a question, and then I'll take yours in a second. When he is running around like a chicken with his head off to make you happy, meeting your wants, and now you're putting more things that he wants, more needs, right? It's good. He's not going to be listening very well. If you, in the meanwhile, have cut out some of your wants and stopped asking him for something you don't want, you want him to wash the dishes. It takes him twice as long as you, and they're soapy, going back into the cupboard. Okay, thank you, right? Okay, so pick your battles. Exactly. Let's take the question.
That's kind of what I was going to ask, but I was going to say, once you pick your top 3 needs, are you supposed to forget about your 100 wants? I mean, you want them for a reason too.
That's a great question. Okay, so once you pick your 3 needs, do you forget about all of your wants? If you could figure out a way to do that, let me know. Give me the crib notes on that one. So no, that's going to be hard to do. But the wants will have such less, like our wants are like, we have to get them met, we have to, And when your needs are met, it's like, if I get it, it's nice. If I don't get it, if he does this for me, that would be nice. If he doesn't, if he makes this mistake, I'm just going to let it go. Once your needs are met, it's like bulletproof stockings, like bullet or whatever, like bulletproof, Isn't that a band or something? Whatever. It's like that's your bulletproof plan. Yeah, excellent question. Go ahead.
I just, before when you mentioned when, once
Do you need to re-up Instagram? Yeah? You could? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So once you need to, before you communicate your needs, we should tell our husbands not to do certain things? Like, I didn't understand that.
Okay, I'm going to reiterate it. Good, I'm glad I'll clarify it. So here's the thing. Now, let's just pretend we've got the big fat filled notebook, okay, with a lot of scribbling. Somebody filled out a whole notebook full of wants, right? You filled this out. Now, you sit down with your husband and you say, what are your, by the way, here are my 3 top needs. Now, there's 2 routes this could go, and for some of you, I would say half-half. Some of you should never tell your husbands what your needs are, and some of you should always tell what your husbands are. Okay, and maybe there are some in-betweens or whatever, but in other words, if I were to discover, let's just say let's say you discover I need quality time. If you were to say to your husband, I need quality time, that's what I need. And that becomes your new nagging mantra. I need quality time, I need quality time. It's not going to go well. If you need quality time and you say, behind the scenes, you stop asking him to take out the trash, you stop asking him to call you 4 times a day, you stop unloading, look, I'm an unloader, right? So when I like to say, oh, this happened, and then that happened, and this happened, and and get supported that way. Everybody's different. My husband I don't know if he likes it, but he's there for me. He meets that need. If I were to say, I really, sit him down, I really need you to be there for me when I unload all of my stuff. It's an unwritten thing. I can get that need met. I can get that need met without having to spell it out specifically. Are people following this? Yeah? So, yeah. If I don't some people, you need to spell out what your needs are to your husband to get them. But in a lot of cases, you don't need to spell it out specifically. I need to, what's the word when you unload on somebody? They come home and venting. Thank you. That was exactly the word I was looking for. So I need to vent, and once I've vented, then I can have a happy evening. If I don't vent, I'm feeling whatever, so everybody's different. If that's a need of yours, if I were to say to my husband, I need you to listen to me when I vent, then it would take some of the sweetness or the charm out of him. So you have to use your judgment on it. But here's the key, and this is to answer this very important question, which is, how do you start? So in terms of understanding, first, now let's say we all have our top 3 lists and their order of priorities of which ones are more important to us, and our wants are less. If the wants are, then the wants they fade over time. You'll see something that you want so desperately in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks of getting your needs met will be much less important to you. And if then you start focusing on this or asking your husband, for those of you who are going to communicate, this is, I really realized I know I've been harping for years about that I want you to, work less hours and come home at night. And if you want to go back to work, that's fine. But I've been harping about it for years. I realize that's not just like a wishful thinking. That's really a need of mine. And I realize I've been asking you that I want, I want to go on a vacation and I want to, can we upgrade to the better car? And all these things I've been wanting. I really don't, I'm willing to give up on those. What I really need is you, more time with you. There's no husband in the world who's not going to melt with that. But if you're still in the midst of making all of your want demands of them, they won't be able to hear it. That's the take-home message. Okay. We have to, whoa. Okay, that was the message. Let me do our wrap-up. Okay, do I have questions before we go? Everyone looks a little like, whoa, heavy duty. Yeah.
What if it's, so kind of what Debbie said, like you tell your spouse nicely and like in a really nice way, and then sometimes maybe like, I don't understand like the communication with men, but sometimes like maybe they don't get it, like because women, like, we feel like it's like common sense, but then like it's like you can't, the men can't really like scan their spouse, or like it's like what do you expect from me? What if you tell them, try to communicate with them, but it's more of like a cultural aspect that comes up. And like it's hard for them to listen.
Okay, so
Yeah.
now you touched on a point, and I'm so embarrassed, not embarrassed, but
Yeah.
sad I didn't cover this because it's very crucial.
Okay.
A lot of the things we think we need from our husband, we need from a girlfriend. And the husband has been sort of merged into this everything person who's supposed to do everything and be our best friend and be blah, 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 blah. And a lot of the needs that we're supposed to be getting are from other places. So our expectations are through the roof, ridiculous, and not healthy for them, bless you. Not healthy for them and not healthy for us. So if you are asking your husband, look, I get it. There's a whole wave where husband should be more sensitive. He should speak more softly. He shouldn't be so harsh with the children. We need our husbands to be a man, okay? So I know everyone wants them to be more woman-like. Okay, that's a whole other conversation, but just understand, if your expectation of your husband, listen, I really, really need you to, be softer with me and to, look, I get it. There are people who talk harshly, and men shouldn't talk harshly to their wife. They should be kind. There's a Gemara, there's a lot of sources that say a husband should be gentle and kind with his wife. But a lot of what we hear as harsh is just them being gruff and manly or whatever. I'm getting off on a whole other topic. But what I'm trying to say is, the part that I feel bad that I didn't talk about is understanding whether our needs are unrealistic expectations given to us by society of what we should want or could want or think we should get, So that's why when you're going through your needs list, be very, very clear to yourself that your needs are realistic and not something that somebody else thinks that you should want. It's very deep. It's very emotional. It's very individual. Last question?
No, I was nodding.
We're good? Okay. The homework. Okay. Leah's secret of the day, knowing what we need is the very first step to getting our needs met. Homework for the week, make a list of wants and narrow it down to 3 or 4 deep needs. That's the homework. If for people who are on Facebook, please comment below, and Instagram, whatever. We want feedback. If you have ideas or questions or things you want us to cover in future episodes, please post that for us. This is the Ladies Talk Show with your host, Leah Richeimer. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today.